Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Crystal, and this is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown podcast. And over speakerphone, I have the wonderful James McNeely, the lead singer of Voquel Kemistry. Vocal with a V and a Q, and chemistry with a K, and hello.
All sorts of crazy spellings. Yep. That is something that we usually have to emphasize when we perform is the spelling, but I mean, hey, Led Zeppelin did something like that, so it's okay. James Neal here. How's everybody doing?
All right, wonderful. And James, you are still out in the Boston kind of area. I know for a little bit there we were trying to figure out what time zone each of us were in, and but here we are. It all worked out.
It's confusing, yeah.
How is Boston these days? I mean, with everything that's going on, is it still pretty closed down? Is it still got a lot of different things happening for it, or?
Sure. So we've been taking the pandemic very seriously. I know a lot of other states are doing this too. We're doing like a phased sort of approach. Okay. So there's different phases of varying restrictions, basically, that we need to follow. So recently, the numbers have been going back up. So for that reason, restaurants are back down to only 25% capacity. Same thing with gyms. So things are closing down. We are not in a full lockdown like we were in March. So it's not like that degree of badness, but it's definitely different. It is a strange time. It's a very isolating time, but the good thing for me as a musician is I've been able to focus more on my creation of music, my writing of music, and my recording, honestly, probably more than ever because of this. So I'm just trying to take a silver linings approach and look at it that way.
Right. And, there's a silver lining in everything. And I think last we were chatting on Facebook trying to come up with a date, and you said that you guys were actually in the studio. How has that been for you guys? Has it been kind of hit or miss? Has it been a lot of social distancing? I mean, are you guys in different rooms? How has this affected your studio time?
Sure. So when we started, so we've been working on our most recent album, our Messenger album, that's actually coming out in late February or March. So that will be something we're really looking forward to. So we've been working on that one for 2 years, basically now, all the way from songwriting to finish. So it's been a lot in the works. And during the beginning of the pandemic, I'd say maybe April it was, because, we didn't even want to get together in March because that's when things were really crazy. But, so we got together in April, and we were taking the distancing seriously, wearing the mask. We each had our own separate little space, and we actually put up dividers and things like that. But nowadays, we're just doing the mass. It's hard to maintain that distance. But, technically speaking, all of us in the band are in the same sort of circle anyways. I mean, I don't want to say that they're family, but I mean, it's close enough. They say part of the guidelines and stuff from the CDC is that you're not supposed to interact too much with people that are outside of your circle. But these days, it's basically like our work. So they're basically all coworkers, and they're basically in the same circle. So, we do what we can, but to record properly, we got to get together and we got to make that happen. I just hope going forward that we're able to get the vaccinations and everything like that, so we can be as safe as possible. And I don't know if this came up before, but my day job is I'm actually a teacher. So I actually teach math. And so hopefully for that reason, I'll be near the top of the line when it comes to getting the vaccine. And I want to do that as soon as possible, just to just so we can be safe and do everything that way. Well,
Right, right. Now, with your day job, James, you did say that you were a teacher. Have you been doing a lot more kind of online teaching? Are you still going into a classroom? What's the situation like?
sure, sure. So every single district is different, depending on their number of cases and other factors like that. So our district has been in the red zone for a while, which is, I forget what the exact number is, but it's enough cases to where there should be a high level of concern. So for that reason, in the Everett district, which is my district right outside of Boston, we've been remote for the entire school year so
Oh,
far.
wow.
So it's a big change. It's everything is on Zoom. So I go into the building, teach from the building, and basically broadcast to the kids who are learning from home. So it's been trying. It's been a very weird time, I would say, for me, but especially for the kids, because they're learning from home. I find that the kids who are naturally independent and who naturally have high executive functioning, they're doing better than ever. I would say they're scoring higher than ever. But on the other side of that, you have kids who aren't necessarily independently motivated, and they're just, they're sitting in their homes by themselves. So it's been hard for those kids, and some of them are falling behind because of it. And I mean, you can expect that to happen during a pandemic. These are really unprecedented times here, so we're going to have to deal with some unprecedented stress because of it.
Right, right. How has that stress level kind of shaped your music at all that you've noticed? I mean, you said earlier that it's kind of aided. You get to kind of take more time and a little bit of a breather to really focus in on your lyrics and songwriting. Have you noticed that stress creeping into any of your music?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would say I think it took me maybe 4 months into the pandemic to even be able to write anything. For those first 4 months, I was extremely stressed and extremely scared about the situation and everything. So I couldn't write anything. I mean, I tried to basically sit down and force it, but as other songwriters out there know, it's not something you can force at all. So it wasn't working for me, and I did force it, and I wrote a couple of crappy songs that I basically just discarded, and no one will ever hear those except for me. They're in the vault. But anyway, after those 4 months, I kind of started to open up a little bit more, because that was during the summer, so there was a little bit more hopeful of a situation. People starting to go back outside and everything, and go to the beach and stuff. So during that time, I wrote a song called Rust that I am very proud of. It's going to be launched out actually as a single. We thought about putting it on our Messenger album, but it doesn't necessarily fit with the overall picture.
Okay.
So we're probably going to put that one out as a single. And I could talk a little bit about my song Rust. So
Yeah, go for it.
the lyrics are basically to do with the fact that I hadn't played in a really long time. So it starts out, I think the first verses, it looks like I'm a little bit rusty because I have not played in so long. Because when I wrote it, I picked up my guitar and my fingers hurt so bad because you know how they form. Any guitar player out there knows this who's listening. They form blisters the more you play, and the blisters prevent your hands from hurting.
Yep.
And so, for anyone who doesn't know that, I just want to be clear about what I mean. And so
Calluses
I lost these
and
blisters because I hadn't played in literally probably 4 months. And so I just felt like I was down and out, and I felt like I was a little bit rusty. And so that was my song there. Much more of an emotional type track than I usually write, but I'm usually a little bit more rock and roll for the most part.
Right.
But these are emotional times, and I think it really speaks to what I was going through, and what a lot of people were going through during this time. I mean, everybody's a little bit rusty, like socially. Everybody's a little bit rusty, like mental health wise. So I just thought that it would be a good song to get out there as a single. So that's another project that we've been working on recently.
Perfect. When is the single gonna land? Do you have a date?
So we need to finish up the editing process for it. Funny that you should ask. I'm actually going over to see my bandmate today to ask him about that, because he's the one who's been doing the editing. So I'll stop over there and I'm going to ask him about that today. It's so hard to nail a solidified date down, but we're going to try to do it as soon as possible, within the month at least.
Okay, excellent. So we'll wait for your new single to come out. You're working on your new album, Messenger. We kind of talked briefly about it here. How that's been for you guys, kind of being socially distanced in the studio with masks and everything, but now that things kind of have lightened up a little bit, you're basically with family. So are you guys comfortable with your surroundings right now? Is there any tension that's going on? I mean, do you feel that this album is rushed at all just because of what's happening in the world today?
Sure. So no, I wouldn't say that it's rushed. I would say, yeah, I mean, there is an urgency for me in particular to get this out, because some of these songs that are coming out on this album, I wrote them some of them 3 years ago. So some of these, I'm proud of them all, but some of them I'm very proud of, and some of them I really, really want to get them out there. And, other artists who are listening definitely can relate to that. And then, because it's one thing to write a song and to play it for family and friends, but to finish it and to have it nicely recorded and to get it out there is just a different experience altogether. So I'm really excited about it. And I would say, yeah, there's an urgency factor for sure to get it out there. If for nothing more than I just want to offer a chance for people to feel good, for once for once during this long pandemic. And it's just been so brutal for so many people for a variety of different reasons, economic reasons, mental health reasons, whatever. So really, more than anything, my wish is to get this out there, to get this to our fans, and even beyond that. We're growing on Spotify nowadays, so we're trying to get it out there, and just kind of grow our following, and just to get people on board with feeling good. Part of the biggest theme, I would say, from the album is breaking through the darkness, breaking through the hard times, dealing with the stress, dealing with the anxiety, fear, whatever, all the bad shit, and getting through that and breaking through to the light, to the other side, and knowing that those hard times are formative, and without them, we would not have been able to develop such good character traits along the way. I think we really become who we are due to all of our experiences, but the hard experiences especially can kind of mold you into becoming something more. And so a lot of the album, that's a big theme of the album, just basically breaking through and getting to the light. Even in terms of the artwork, if you look at the album, first of all, artwork was designed by my beautiful wife, Whitney, so I want to give her a shout out right there. And so the artwork is, you can see basically a clear sky with a big beautiful sun in the top right, but then at the bottom there are some stormy clouds. And so yeah, that's really the big picture. I would say is overcoming and breaking through into better times, which we can all hope is the case in 2021. Really hope.
Yes, I completely agree. Very wise words, James. You know, the harder times are very difficult for people to go through, whether that's money-wise, personal reasons, relationships, whatever it is. But you definitely come out a better person on that other side. But that definitely comes with work. And, you know, having that understanding and being able to look beyond those trying moments and knowing that there's a better version of you out there for you to follow. So, wise words, definitely. How has this album kind of changed from the last one that you put out? Is there a different maturity to this album?
Definitely. And there is for a couple reasons. First of all, I've definitely, as the main songwriter, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I've just gotten better. I've just gotten way better because I've practiced, and you know, practice makes perfect. I'd say at this point in my life, you know, I've been writing songs since I was around 19, and now I'm 25, so 6 years, and you know, I write songs any chance I can. So I would say at this point I've probably written near 1,000 songs. Now, keep in mind, some of those are awful. Some of those are not playable, very strange songs, but nonetheless, I've written them, and I've been very deliberate about trying to see what sort of works, what sort of doesn't, what sounds good to me, what sounds good to the fans, and just going back and forth with that, putting everything out there on YouTube and Spotify, whatever, seeing what the people like, what the people want, and, you know, also just what sounds good to me. I think it's kind of a balance between what I believe to be good based on my own vision, but then also trusting the fans and saying, okay, I might think this is good, but they're not vibing with it, so I need to go ahead and change that up a little bit. And just kind of looking at the reaction, everything like that. Another reason that this album is much different is due to our editing. So okay. I'm going to give a shout out right now to Jonathan. He's out there. He is our keyboardist / bassist / song producer. So he's been working on the mixing and the production. And since he made our last album, he's been working on his craft a lot, just practicing on Pro Tools and stuff like that. And also taking college level courses on song editing and mixing and stuff. And you can just tell that he's getting way more advanced in his technique. He's getting way more creative. If you listen to our song, one of our recent songs, I think it's actually our top song right now on Spotify. It's She's the Queen. If you check that one out, you can just tell if you listen to the old stuff. It's night and day in terms of editing. And all of our fans have said the same thing. They've said, wow, this almost sounds like a different sort of artist here, listening to that. And with The Messenger, I mean, it's really all over the place in terms of style. I think our last album, Behind the Curtain, was a great album, but we were just kind of dipping our toe in the water in terms of being a band and having an album out at all. So that we were just kind of trying it out. But this album, we are kind of showing basically what we can do, like the scope of what we can do. And when the album comes out, you'll hear the diversity in the tracks. Right now, we only have 3 singles out from the album. So we have She's the Queen, All the Runners Beware, and another song called Back to Spain. They're all singles from the Messenger album. And if you listen to those 3, not a single one of them sounds the same at all. Like, not in terms of songwriting, in terms of production. So they're basically, you know, just kind of showing a scope of what we can do. We really want a diverse sort of genre-defying album is really what we're going for with this one.
All right. Excellent, James. Excellent. I'm kind of looking up. Oh, gee. Would you guys quit? Jeez. Sorry, my chinchillas
That's
have decided to be awake and run around and oh,
that's awesome. Multiple? You have more than one?
multiple, yes. One's a boy and one's a girl, so I do apologize for that. James, I'm just looking up Voquel Kemistry right now. Looks like you are getting a pretty solid following on iTunes and Spotify. Are you guys launching that yourselves, or do you have a company that does that for you?
So I have been doing. Yeah, actually, wow, I can't believe this hasn't come up yet. What I have been focusing on this year more than anything is marketing. So I've been basically changing my mentality. I used to have this false belief that if you produce great music, people will just somehow magically find it. But I have been finding out over the past 3 years that that is not the case, and that you need to market yourself, whether it's through a company or whether it's by yourself or a combination of the two. Because I really believe that there are some amazing artists out there that have not been discovered simply because they have not really put themselves out there. I mean, they've made music, but they haven't marketed themselves. And I used to fall into that category. And part of the whole 2020 scare for me was basically realizing that, hey, wait a minute, like, I'm not going to live forever. And my dream, my vision of what I want to do as an artist is not something that's going to just manifest itself. It's something that I need to go ahead and do, and not just once in a while, but every single day. So anyways, that's my mentality now. And so for the past, basically since the pandemic started, a little after, so maybe like 8 months now, I've been going hard. I've been going hard on Instagram. I've been going hard on Facebook, emailing radio stations, blog posts, I'm trying to think of what other category, just Instagram influencers, anyone who might be interested in it. So I've been growing my following on Instagram, on Facebook. I've been growing the following on Spotify. And I'm just going to kind of keep doing that. I'm just going to keep going in. And I really think my work ethic has improved so much because, like I said before, I used to think that I could just write quality music and that it would just happen. But I'm realizing that, hey, wait a minute, I got to do the marketing. And eventually, I'd like to have a budget for that and have somebody else do it. But right now, we're still a relatively small band with a relatively small following, so I'm going to be the one that's doing that. But I'm proud to do it, because some of the work can be tedious, like, going to DM random people on Instagram, making frequent Instagram posts, emailing blogs. It can get tedious. It can get tiring, but I just try so hard to keep my vision and the big picture in my mind of what I want as an artist. And to keep that in mind keeps me motivated, and it keeps me going every single day. I'd say just about every single day. I mean, sometimes I take weekends off, but I try to either submit to playlists or DMs or make posts every day to every other day. And so, yeah, I've just been feeling that motivation, feeling the urgency in this year to really follow through on my vision, because it's been made clear to me that, shit hits the fan sometime. And sometimes it gets real really quick. And I better start running towards where I want to go, or else I'm not going to get there.
Yep. Yeah. Some more wise words. And now with social media and YouTube and things like that, it's a lot easier for people to kind of create their own brand and to create content and to have viewers and likes and subscribers. And that's kind of where the whole audience realm is going. And James, it kind of sounds like you and I are in the same boat. I mean, when we were growing up, it was MTV and magazines and, things like that.
Right.
There was no, I'm going to do this myself. And if there was, it was a mixtape that you threw together in your friend's basement.
Right, right.
But now there are so many things available and readily available for people. I mean, right now I'm doing a podcast radio style in my living room with my chinchillas as the audience, but
It's an amazing future.
it is, and it's just gonna keep building on itself and get even more amazing. Where are you hoping? I think I asked you this last time too, but where are you hoping to take Voquel Kemistry? I mean, do you want to take them on a national tour? Do you want to focus on just growing that online presence, since it kind of seems like that's the way things are going right now? Where are you hoping to take it?
Right, right. So we really want to grow online, I would say, more than anything at this point. And what I'm envisioning, it never goes exactly the way you planned, which is the thing about life. But my vision, if I were to have like the ideal thing that I would want to happen, it would be to grow the audience to a much larger size on Spotify, Apple Music, get more following on Instagram, Facebook, just basically have like an online buzz happening. Say like, wait a minute, who are these guys? These guys are pretty sick. Like I like listening to their stuff a lot. And kind of growing from there. I've been doing a lot of research too, because more than ever during quarantine we've had time to watch TV shows, but that gets boring after a while. So I've been doing a lot of reading, and I figure if I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, then it better be about my vision. It better be about what I want to do. So I'm doing a lot of reading on marketing in general, marketing for music specifically, and so I'm looking into starting a website. So that's next up on the list. They recommend having a legitimate looking website. So I might have to hire somebody for that, but that's what's next on the list. And then I would say after that, I would like to get into some merchandise right after we've picked up a big enough following. I mean, it's getting pretty big now, actually. Well, bigger than it's ever been before. But we'd like to keep growing, and we've thought about doing like T-shirts, hats, everything like that. Maybe even some like weirder stuff, like I don't know, bottle openers or something. I've heard of these sites where you can get basically anything branded with the logo of Voquel Kemistry or whatever logo you want, but that's what we would use. And just to I don't know, I guess to sum it up, I just want to create as much as possible. I want to create an awareness about our music, so mostly online. But I want to get some CDs out. We did CDs for the last album, so I want to do that again for this album. I might even want to go in the vinyl direction. I think that might be a big cost up front, I would say, to do that, but I think that would really benefit down the line, because our style of music is, I mean, we have some poppy sounding stuff for sure, but we're not necessarily like a pop band. We're kind of meant to be listened to as a whole album, I would say. Like we have more of like a retro style like that. So I'd be interested in maybe going down the vinyl avenue and selling those online, either through the website or in person or whatever. And when it comes to shows, I mean, that's, it's off the table now. My hope is that at some point relatively soon, we can all go back to concerts. And that would definitely be something I'm looking into doing in the future. But it would just, quite honestly, it would make me sad to pursue that right now, to reach out to venues and stuff. So I'm not doing that yet. But when we come to greener pastures, which we hopefully will soon, fingers crossed, I definitely want to play shows, and I definitely want to get out there and do some live stuff for sure. Yeah.
Excellent, James. Excellent. James, it was so wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me and our chinchilla fan base right now. So you've got you've got a single that's coming out. You have a couple singles up on iTunes and Spotify. We'll take a listen to one of them here right after the interview. And then you guys are working on an album coming out. You're working on brand awareness, maybe getting some t-shirts pressed, and looking forward to touring. What else do you have going on? Anything?
You pretty much summarize it very, very well. All of those things are what all my time and energy and my soul has been poured into all of those things into this album. So, anyone out there who's listening to this, go check it out. When you hear the Messenger album, just know that that's been 2 years in the making. Every ounce and fiber of my being, all of my experience that I've been through in my own life, and all of us in the band as well, all poured into that album with blood, sweat, and tears, just so you can vibe, hopefully on vinyl too. We want to do that. We want to do it that way.
All right. Wonderful, James. James, thank you so much. Say hello to the rest of the band for me, and we'll talk soon.
Will do. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4.
She's the queen of everything. She wears around her head. She wanted to be someone great, but never had the chance. And the wind was blowing through her hair. She's the queen and she don't care. Not so slow, you mustn't wait another day to get your fate. Don't know what to do when you don't know what to do. If the wall should crumble down, I'll be there and you'll find me round. Don't know what to do when you don't know what to do. Passing by a sunny day, I see her when she stares. She looks so far into my eyes and knocked me off my chair. And the wind was blowing through her hair. She's the queen and she don't care. Not so slow, you mustn't wait another day to get your fate. Don't know what to do when you don't know what to do. If the wall should crumble down, I'll be there and you'll find me round. Don't know what to do when you don't know what to do. She's the queen of everything. She wears around her head. She wanted to be someone great, but never had the chance. And the wind was blowing through her hair. She's the queen and she don't care. Not so slow, you mustn't wait another day to get your fate. Don't know what to do when you don't know what to do. If the wall should crumble down, I'll be there and you'll find me round. Don't know what to do when you don't know what to do.